to how to...
We are live, Karen. And with Joe Corneli and Karen Einstein and Charlotte Pierce of the Peeragogy Handbook, Peeragogy in Action, and all the other associated peeragogy things. But today, once we get started, I think Charlie Danoff is going to join us, and he and I do publishing for the handbook, which is kind of our product that we have in Peeragogy. And it kind of, the handbook serves to kind of center us and give us something to coalesce around, I guess. And we are gradually acquiring other centers of action also. We have a member, Fabrizio Terzi, in Italy, Bergamo, Italy. I'm probably massacring the pronunciation. Bergamo. And Karen's knows Spanish, so maybe she could do it better. He's developed a dashboard for Peeragogy, and at some point do we have that up here?
No, that's one of the ones that you closed down.
I closed down because you had too many windows open, girl. Peeragogy Dashboard. Here we are. Anyway, how you doing, Joe?
Good. I see that Dorothea would like to join us. Someone can paste the link into the chat into the event page. Well, maybe she'd like to join. Maybe she just wants to watch. But anyway, if she'd love to join, we'd love to have her. So that would be great.
Yeah, I'll get that in a second here.
Okay, great. So yeah, I'm good. Just as I was telling you guys before, a little bit tired because this whole week has been completely frying my brain. But I wanted to just kind of recap. As my brain was fried, I found a bunch of cool stuff on the internet. So there's this guy in London named Dan Sofer who started something called Founders and Coders, which is kind of like what Fabrizio and I were talking about when we were hanging out at the Free Technology Academy, thinking about how could we make a co-op for learning and becoming kind of programming professionals. So I guess this guy's done it, and he's gotten written up in The Guardian about that, so that was cool.
I think I saw something you may have posted about that.
Yeah, I posted it, and then I recirculated it because it was like just seemed, like a really good example that they're giving free education to people. I think you have to pass a certain prerequisite thing, but for example, we could all try to pass the prerequisites and all enroll or something in their how do you build cool websites thing. So then they train you up, and then once you've been trained up, you can become a mentor in the next round, and all of that's free. And the way they survive is that the people who've been all trained up then offer consulting services like any other kind of web development shop. So it's really interesting kind of co-learning, co-working model. Not like what Jan Herder was talking about and Fabrizio and stuff. So I guess this stuff is like for real. So anyway, I was impressed with that.
Yeah, like we always say, we didn't invent peeragogy. We're just discovering it everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this photo I just put up was just to recap what some of us have done this week. And Paola is with us now.
Hi.
Hi, Paola.
Hola.
Hola.
¿Qué tal?
Bien.
Oh, bueno. She and Charlie.
Yeah.
Big photo.
Tell us what happened down there. I mean, what was it a success, or how did you feel about it?
About the presentation.
Yeah.
Well, I think that people were not prepared for a workshop. Charlie wanted to run a workshop with the people there, but people were not very cooperative. So we decided just to go on and that was it. I think that a couple of friends of mine were there, and they were really interested, and they took the books with them to Uruguay and Argentina. So we are trying to expand pedagogy to the whole continent.
And again, this was the Wikimania 15, right?
Yeah, and Wikimania was absolutely crazy.
What were some of the high points?
Well, many of the featured talks were really interesting, really interesting, and also there were panels about digital rights, and that was nice too.
Yeah.
And also Jimmy Wales was talking about freedom of expression, and he's going to begin a foundation to defend Wikimedians who are prosecuted by governments because of editing Wikipedia. That was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did your presentation, in the context of people weren't really ready for it? I was wondering what were most presentations like, and what.
Well, I think that our presentation was really like in the sense of the, I mean, because we were talking about the values, Wikipedia values, the 5 pillars. So Peeragogy is like it matches very well with these values. So it was like kind of, I think it was good.
Was it more kind of workshopy, and the others were more?
No, we finally didn't do any workshop. We just were talking, and we had some questions, and that was it. It was very brief. We only had 30 minutes. It was very short. Yeah.
Yeah, it is really short. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just too much to ask people to make that mental shift to actually engaging in it, in the material.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that really trying to make a workshop right there with the people who was not prepared for that, it was not it was not a good idea. But I think Charlie. Yeah, I think Charlie was a little bit disappointed because people were not so engaged, but I think it's normal, because if you're not prepared for a workshop, if you sign for a workshop, you know what are you going to do. But if you don't sign for a workshop, only for a talk, you are expecting a talk, a regular talk. So.
Yeah.
And how many simultaneous talks or workshops were there?
Oh, they were a lot. Yeah, that was a problem because I missed a lot of things, and also they were not only simultaneous, but some of them last like 30 minutes, and then you had some that like an hour, and then you had 15 minutes talks. It was crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
It was crazy. So you had to run from one room to another to like catch up everything or at least a little bit of everything.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah. It was crazy.
And how many people more or less were there?
I think that 1,500.
Oh my God! Wow, great.
Have you been to one before?
No, it was my first Wikimania.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of crazy people.
And then it was international, right? It wasn't just...
Yeah, people from everywhere. India, Egypt, Macedonia, Serbia.
Cool.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, it's just like... I was telling Karen, I was showing her a little bit about the dashboard that Fabrizio had put together, and she started getting overwhelmed, and I said, just sit back. Next time you come across this, it will all make more sense, and there won't be a quiz.
No. Little by little, step by step.
And she's a great, learner.
From being a teacher.
Right.
A facilitator.
Joe is flipping the dashboard bias here, and
cool.
That's cool.
Cool.
I was thinking, Joe, back to what you were saying. As Charlotte, I came an hour early because that's how organized I am today. So Charlotte said, why don't you familiarize yourself a little bit with the dashboard and stuff? So I did. And as I was doing it, I was thinking, you mentioned earlier someone who was in The Guardian who worked in a little bit in online education, from what I understand. And I was one of the people that I was thinking of this morning, just before we started the discussion, was Russell Stannard. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He's also from the UK, and he was the person that in the British Council we were using. We're watching a lot of his videos. He designs videos to teach people how to use lots of different online products and social media products. And so I thought of him because I just saw an article in The Guardian about him recently.
Cool.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure. Is it really easy to understand videos? They're usually like 15, 20 minutes long. And so I just thought of him because he's in the UK and he's doing the same thing.
This guy? Open Learn?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He works at the Open University, I think.
Yeah.
Or no, that doesn't look like him. No, he's young.
Russell Stannard's Open Learn profile.
Huh, that's interesting.
Maybe there's a son or something.
Could be. Well.
Anyway, so that was good that we're getting out. You know.
Yeah.
And Karen and I went down to the Harvard Berkman Center for Internet and Society.
That was great.
To a lunch presentation last week, and it was about. What was it about?
It was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it?
2 weeks ago.
My memory is failing me.
It was about internet open, you know, like the FCC policy. It was more very policy oriented. I posted a little bit of a thing on it on the Google Plus community, but
yeah, it was quite technical.
Yeah, it was. They just kept getting back to policy, which is great. I mean, it's very important, and but not really related to the practice of open learning and that kind of stuff. But still, I mean, I wanted to go down just to kind of introduce us to them, and I did get the contact information for the presenter, whose name I forgot. Anyway, he's from Fordham University. He's a lawyer and teaches aspects of law and communications law. So yeah, that's one thing, and hopefully we'll go down to some more. And I think that place it's not. I mean, the Berkman Center is a very good outlet for peeragogy and a place to practice it. A little more law-centered, I guess, but there's a lot of open learning, open knowledge study and research going on. A really interesting cast of fellows that come there every year.
Mm.
So,
looking at the list right now, there's a lot of people there. Any one of them, if they were interested in education, maybe it'd be worth emailing that person, and then when you go to one of the talks, you could hang out with whoever it is, and they're even more interested and have a chat with them. I mean,
yeah, it would be good to. Yeah, that's a good strategy to contact them in it.
We had Mako and we had Willow at one time. Maybe someone from here would come along. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. We'll kind of plan ahead and invite somebody. And they broadcast these. I don't know if it's on Hangouts or not, but I mean, Harvard has its own little network and circuit for broadcasting.
It's funny, one of the things I was thinking this week, I didn't have time to mention this to you, Charlotte, about peeragogy is the only place, I've worked in lots of different fields, and the only place I've found peeragogy not in use was in the academic setting. Like everywhere else, peeragogy but within academics, it's much more like, or it has been traditionally, I'm sitting and listening to the fount of knowledge. Whereas I was thinking, for example, pulling up invasive species. We're always learning from each other about the habitats or about how to. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to organize tearing out a water species, which is called Chinese chestnuts, that's taking over the waterways around here. And who to talk to get the canoes, and the best way of taking them out of the water is by using laundry baskets because they have all the holes in them and it leaks and it's the right size. And canoes are better than kayaks or rowboats because kayaks you can't really put anything in it. And there are all these things that together people are figuring out how to do. And so I'm so accustomed to doing that with so many different aspects of life. And then I think of the academic setting and how that's so different in terms of peer learning. And it was something that struck me this week about what I've learned in life and where I've learned it and how academia, I think maybe the whole thing, how the academic setting is just overinflated, at least here in the United States. You know, it's such an important thing to do with your life, and I think that's now being challenged with the internet and the way that people are learning from one another in external situations. So I don't know. It was just something I thought of today.
After stopping by your place and seeing all that bittersweet, now that's burned into my brain. What bittersweet looks like. An invasive species that's taking over the Northeast.
It's killing trees.
They're dying right and left. Okay, well, Charlie, what do you got to say for yourself?
Sorry, I'm late. I can't see any chats, obviously, but yeah, no. We got trains, music, sandwich shop. Yeah, not much. We got I got the Peeragogy handbook tweeted, or what Paola tweeted about and used in Argentina. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
You didn't retweet it.
Someone favorited it, I think.
Give me no love.
And what did you guys learn as peers? What did you learn from anyone there at the conference?
I learned from Paola how to be an amazing, amazing host and very, very kind person.
Cool. That's actually a good thing to learn.
Yeah, so now I feel really bad about all the times when I've hosted people visiting me, really insecure about food.
Oh, you know what I've discovered? A really good way of making your friendships improve is letting people know, like, oh my God, you know, I just realized how horrible a host I was. And then they will love you for it. I'll give you another chance to host them, too.
It's good to see you. Peeragogy in action.
Okay. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, it sounds like it was really fruitful, and I think it's a good experience. It sounds like it was a little bit, didn't go exactly the way you projected.
Yeah, but I think
Expected.
One of the things I was thinking is it's actually never gone as we expected. Every time we think we're going to do a workshop at one of these conferences, it's like people are like, "What? You want us to do something? Wait, you're not." Or they just don't show up. Like the one in Newcastle, it was like, "Oh, I see what you're trying to make me do. You're trying to make me like stop and think about stuff. I'm not going to go anywhere."
I'm not ready to do that. Oh.
Well, it's funny because, I don't know, Charlie, have you been to EFL conferences or ELL conferences? Because I find that somebody, like as teachers, I'm so accustomed to going to a conference and just only doing workshops. And because the people who lead them are like screened teachers, they're really good at giving workshops and just kind of saying, okay, you know, go ahead, do this case study, and we'll come together and we'll talk in 10 minutes about this. Speak in pairs or groups.
So they get your attention by going,
or just holding up your hand, smiling. Everybody's quiet. I don't know. It sounds like your experience is a little different. And I was thinking, Charlie, the other thing is, right now I'm noticing I'm spending a lot of time on LinkedIn, and I love Daniel Goleman and everything he does with emotional intelligence. And social emotional intelligence is a really big part of American education right now. And hey, you know, you just learned a fantastic lesson in social emotional intelligence, and you know that's key. It's a big problem as a teacher, is getting kids to resolve differences and getting kids to think about, you know, like how to make one another feel comfortable, which is what hosting someone is all about. So like you learned a lot. It wasn't what you thought you were going to learn, but it was something really important in life. So that was just my take.
It sounds like everyone learns better with a Mexican breakfast.
Yeah, look, I've been to like a couple Illinois-based like EFL or ESL bilingual education conferences, and yeah, I guess I hadn't really thought about it, but maybe it's just because like that particular type of teacher is like particularly active and involved in the classroom. Maybe they're more likely. I don't know why, but I would agree with you that people there were more willing to do workshops and like get involved, whereas like the conferences Joe's mentioning and what we were at, it's more like, maybe it's more, I'm just hypothesizing, they're more like academics or researchers as opposed to like people who are like, I mean, English is second language, you're getting people involved all the time, moving around, there's different personality in some ways. But anyway, but yeah, no, yeah, so, and I was thinking, I mean, I think we discussed previously, I should have had those 3 people who did volunteer, I should have had them just start working on something.
Mm-hmm.
Talking, and then I could have brought them back in at the end to share what they found, or I could have like asked at the beginning of it, like anybody who wants to get involved, like come sit at the front. If you don't want to, that's fine. Anybody? Oh, nice, Paola. Very nice. Very cool. Thank you.
You actually look pretty regular there, Charlie.
Pretty what?
Pretty businesslike.
You know, I had to. Well, I was only in Mexico City for a short time, so I was able to keep up the
appearance.
So it wasn't too stressful.
I like this. Great learning experience and nice.
Thank you.
So we were going to try and schedule the great wrap-up for the handbook, which has been ready to go for several months.
Awesome. Okay.
How do you want to deal with that?
Can you work with the things Amanda sent you to get them into Lightning Source via InDesign or whatever it was, or should I do that?
Yeah. I was thinking that it would be nice to have a hangout, and it would probably serve to motivate me to actually work on it. And as I do that, get input from you, Joe, or whoever else was able to come, and you can kind of see how it's put together. Did you get a ISBN for the new edition?
No, but I have some. Like with Boker, I bought like 5 or 10 at some point, so I have some.
Do you want to use that, or do you want me to do it?
No, I can do it. That's fine. You did it last time.
Huh?
You did it last time. That's totally fine. I can do it.
Okay.
Maybe if you want to, like, would you want to be so bold as to schedule like earlier morning hangout this week? Because this weekend is Lollapalooza, so I'm not going to get anything done over the weekend.
Well, that's important.
Sorry?
That's important to get that.
It is important. I see Paul McCartney play on Friday night.
Oh, God.
I know.
I would run screaming from that, I think.
You should come. Might be dangerous for Paul though. Running at him, but yeah. So if you want maybe like Thursday or Friday morning, they're like I don't know. We could follow up the email after this. I don't know, like 7 or
Like
7:30, like 8 my time, 9 your time. Would that work? Or is that a bad time for you?
Yeah, you know, I'm 59 years old.
Right. Well, we do a lunch thing this week again?
No, I can do it. I can do it.
59, remember. Spinach and lentils.
I can do it after I go rowing. Rowing.
Rowed her bike to rowing, and then she rowed home.
I'm sure it's funny.
I did stay up till 10 last night. But no, this could be a good organizational thing, and if I could have some help just getting my head around it by having some compadres, I would love it.
I mean, we could, like, if we wanted to do it after, like, 5 or 6 or something, my time, I could also invite, like, see if one of the people who works in design at my office could come, so he could kind of, he knows Photoshop, he knows stuff in and out. We want to do it in the evening. He would be down for the morning. But yeah. All right, well, let's just follow up about that. And then if not this week, then next week for sure. If not this week, then next week and next weekend, absolutely, no matter what. But yeah, let's get that out.
Okay.
Cool.
So just overall, like, are we planning on doing another edition on January 1st? Or, this is almost 2 years for this one.
Yeah, so I'd like to weigh in on that and just say no. I think we should realize that doing it every year is not good. We should do it as and when, and if it's a year and a half this time, maybe it should be, at least that much for next time. But I mean, we shouldn't push it off so far that it becomes like never. I think what we should do is either when it's ready. Or before it's ready, but like when it's ready, we should think about the things that we need to change. And this is what I was gonna say. I don't know if I can join you guys for the other meeting, depending on when you schedule it. But what I was gonna say is I would really like to rewrite the intro to the handbook. I know it's since we've bought ourselves some time, to just revise the intro, basically to say it's not perfect. And I was really inspired by Paola's list of questions here. So, like, I think this material, which is on the scrapbook page on Peeragogy.net, would be really interesting to put into the intro as a list of things, or a list of reasons why the handbook is not perfect. So, like, can we create an updated list of useful resources? What happened to the idea of the DIY toolkit? Can we create a unified visual identity? Can we solve the bottleneck problem for production of the next thing? Can we boost our translations and maybe get the project some money to pay people so Paola wouldn't have to do that out of pocket? Or how could we help sponsor that? And, like, next steps, what are the features of the project? So I feel like I think it would be really kind of a non-traditional introduction to say, like, okay, here's this book. It is pretty awesome, but it's not perfect. Like, we want to admit that right away. Like, what book comes out and says that? Well, we can afford to say that because the book is a work in progress. And I think, like, if we include, like, up front, so every time we go on there, we're reminded of the ways in which it wasn't perfect in, July of 2015, then by the time we fix some of those issues, then we may say, oh, okay, that was our checklist for the next edition, and then we'll have a whole other list of ways in which it wasn't perfect, but we'll feel much more proud of ourselves because, yeah, look, we got through all of these things. And maybe there's some other things to add there, but
yeah, I think it will be important for each of us to try and get some copies of the handbook into their hands. I don't know if anybody has ordered any, but we can make an order. Be nice if we could get an account of some kind. You know. I mean, one of us could use their bank account. It would be great if it wasn't me because, number one, I'm really horrible with money, and number two, it serves, since it's all coming into my account, my own account, then I can, get it. It can be a trail, and it would be a cross check on sales and stuff. I mean, most of the money that we've made, like 300 or something, is gone against fees for hosting the, to Lightning Source and that kind of stuff. But we could then, when sales came in, we could put it in a central spot, so when somebody goes to give a talk, they know how much is there.
Yeah, I'd love to have a couple copies just to give away to people. You know, I know some folks. My sister introduced me to this guy who's running an entrepreneur project in the University of Berkeley. Like, I'd love to just give him a copy of the handbook and say, hey, this like reminds me of the stuff you're doing.
Well, you can take the PDF and have it printed on a Gutenberg or
Yeah, that's true.
But that's what I do for review copies and stuff. But so I've spent about $200 doing that. It costs a little bit more per copy than the regular print on demand. But we could also renew our relationship with Lulu.com, and I think they have slightly different terms and conditions. Like, let's not do that. Charlie and I kind of went through that, and they're cheesy and not. I mean, we have it set up on Lightning Source, and I kind of.
Yeah. Okay. Not them. Maybe Lulu isn't the best, but I'm thinking maybe there's some other print or print on.
Yeah, we have some printers with IPNI. One of our board members is a major printer, and I can take it to him and ask him what he could do for us in terms of
We've been through this. We had, well, first off, what Joe said about the intro, being not being perfect, that sounds awesome. Let's do that. And then to the bank account, yes, we should set up like a separate bank account.
Want me to set up like an online. I could set up another business account in my local independent bank for Peeragogy.
Sure. Okay.
And then
that's fine. Sure.
The sales into that. And the other thing is, Charlie, you have the access to Lightning Source, right?
Yeah, no, so we're sticking with Lightning Source. We went through this before. The reason we're not doing Lulu is because Lightning Source can distribute to stores, and Lulu cannot. And so if the bookstore wants to buy our book, they can't get it from Lulu. They can get it from Lightning Source. That's our printer. That's what we're doing.
It's possible that if I ask my friend Paul, who has.
What Paul's gonna send it to like stores in London and like Chicago.
Charlie, just to be clear, I wasn't saying instead. I was saying like in addition. So I think like we should definitely keep going with Lightning Source as our main thing. I was just thinking like if we wanted to make up copies for us or something, like a kind of off print or like a desk copy or something. So like if we wanted to just buy 100 or 500 copies or something,
I miss her. Let's get Lightning Source done. Let's get all this. Let's get this done before we worry about any like variant. All that. Set a bank account and then.
So I'll do that, and then that'll make it easier to account for the sales. And if we have copies, we should have a way for people to order it when we go to conferences and things like that. So maybe a rack cards with ordering information. And I should be able to take some down to Harvard and give copies to the head of the Berkman Center and stuff, people like that.
Obviously, that would be amazing. Oh, and on that note, I talked to Mako at
You're dropping out.
The oligarchies. I talked to that Mako dude who joined us one time. He's a professor at Washington. Has written those like peer learning papers that we cited.
Yep.
Anyway, reminded me of that. But yeah, no, taking him down there sounds awesome, Charlotte. It sounds awesome.
Yeah. I think, by the way, I think Mako is probably like one of our sort of superheroes. Like, I think his ideas, and from the Berkman Center, he gave this talk about like how to be as successful as Wikipedia. I think that's like a super model for us. He basically says, pick something that's really familiar, and make it easy for people to get involved. And I think that's like a recipe that we can follow. So people know what a encyclopedia is, but they also know what a university is. Like, we all have been there, we've all seen it. We know what that looks like. And so, like, how could we make one that was easy for people to get involved with? Like, so I think Mako would recognize that question if we put that like up front as well. Even if we put that right in our intro and sent the book to him, he'd be like, oh, these guys are talking about my stuff. And I think we might want to do that for, like, this version of the book, include that in the intro. Okay, so is it time to recap? Wow, this is like one of those meetings where time stretches. Like, yeah, we've gone so in depth, and that was like only 15 minutes of talking about the handbook. It seems to happen every time.
So I'll set that up for Friday, and we can talk more about the operations level stuff as time goes on. But I think if we're all going to kind of get in there and try and make it work as a business model of sorts, it would help to have some clarity on that.
Yeah, I think it's good to leave that with you and Charlie, so that there's not too many, not too many cooks. I mean, I think you guys know what you're doing at this phase. Like, if we want to make a big, what would the word would be, constitution or Peeragogy constitution, then we want to get people like, Doug and other people who aren't always coming to the meetings involved. Right. Because then we can give it, the legal kind of thing that we need to do. But we can worry about that.
As long as enough people who come regularly are on board with this kind of approach, maybe we can just go ahead with it.
Yeah, I think in terms of just making it float and stay above water, I think you guys are already doing that. And I think if we want to make it really sail or possibly take off and start flying, then we need more swan strapped to the front of the boat, to use a weird metaphor. Anyway, sorry. You guys know I've been completely sleep deprived all week.
Go take a day off, man.
Yeah, it makes such a difference. You'll be able to think better.
Take a siesta.
I should. Maybe
long one. 24 hours.
Do they really do that in Mexico, Paola?
No. Only in Spain.
Not during Wikimania.
No siestas. They just have an air conditioning now.
People just work.
Keeping up with the rest of the world.
Probably going ahead of it, man.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. This is great to have everyone here.
Yeah.
Well, what else? So I will try to work on the revisions of that, but obviously not all at once. But what else do you guys? Yeah, how else can we be helpful? Just let us know, I guess, as you come up with ideas.
Yeah. Well, it might be helpful to have register Peeragogy as a charitable organization.
Yeah. Well, I've been through that kind of on the peripheries of that.
What's that?
Let's do a business if we're going to do it.
I think we should look into it. I think we should probably just wait until the handbook is ready. But yeah, I think we should definitely do it. I mean,
I have done it for organizations that I've been. You just have to file a tax report every year. You don't have to make money or file or pay taxes necessarily, but you have to file in order to maintain the charitable status, at least in states that I've been involved with.
Yeah. Well, I think let's plan that as like a as a meeting for after we get the book out the door. I think that sort of stuff would be really smart. I mean, I think it's also we might want to consider reorganizing it as a for-profit thing, like more like along the lines of a co-op, like this thing I found, the Founders and Coders. I know there was a ton of, and although it's for-profit, there were a ton of grants in Madison, Wisconsin, about support for co-ops. So like even if we made a for-profit thing, obviously we're none of us in Madison, but like I'm just saying there could be some interesting support for that kind of model. And
Kieran's
I bet.
really involved in some of those types of organizations here, like recycling and sustainability. So we could gather some information on that.
And maybe we could get Michelle Bowens again to show up. I know he was saying, oh, well, I mentioned something about it on Google Plus, and he was like, oh, that sounds great. Do it like this. So, you know, I mean, we could at least get a little bit of advice from him.
He's the peer-to-peer foundation guy.
Great. Yeah.
So yeah, invite people. I mean, it can't hurt if you get him to come next week. We can just make our session about what he wants to talk about. I don't care. I mean,
well, I might be. Yeah, I don't know. I may be taking maybe I'll be taking a week off. So I don't think we should rush. I don't think we should rush it. Oh, but also like all of the key. By the way, all of the best examples of that co-ops are pretty much all in Latin America. So you know.
Yeah, you're right.
Or some in Spain, but like all the best ones are pretty much in Latin America.
We didn't get Dorothea on, but she's from Portugal.
Uh-huh. And what kind of co-ops are you talking about, Joe?
Okay, so just as a brainstorm, I mean, like we haven't really ever spelled it all out, but like basically, you know, if we wanted to make this into a company, how would it be? So maybe we would all pay, you know, $20 a year or something, $50 a year to be members of this organization. Then we'd say, you know, we have a certain amount of money, everyone pays a certain membership fee, and then somehow, through magic, we can all use that to make money ourselves. So we assume that we're going to make more than $50 a year a piece by being members of the organization. What would we do? You know, so maybe we would sell the copies, maybe we'd sell training, you know, maybe we'd do some other, you know, do business under the auspices of this organization that Charlotte was talking about incorporating. So like, you know, consulting or whatever, and it would be something that we could say, okay, yes, I'm going to charge $200 an hour for this consulting thing, and that will all get routed through this business. But you know, we haven't spelled it out, so we need about a month or something to think about how it might work. So it'd be 10 dozen different ways.
And what were some of the examples? You said there are a lot of examples of this in South America, Central America, South America.
So yeah, there's, well, unfortunately, I don't know all the details of these best examples, but one, like, you know, I mean, there's so many different examples of workers cooperatives. So, you know, like the workers would own a factory, or they could own a cafe, you know, that kind of stuff. But I don't know about one where the workers own a university. So basically, it's the idea. It would be like a worker-owned university, roughly speaking. Think of it that way. I don't know what the ones in Latin America do. I just know that they're the only ones that are reputable. So maybe Paola knows more about it, but I don't know much about it really, to be honest. I just know that they're well reputed. I can send you some links if you want.
Well, yeah. I thought we could start a document and just kind of maybe, you know, make it into a charter at some point, or you know, so that we can organize these ideas in categories and you know, start either voting on some of them or getting a critical mass of opinion.
Yeah. Well, Paula, you've been quiet. Are you thinking about things profoundly and deeply again?
Well, recently we had a workshop. I invited the director of the Media Lab Prado. Have you heard about that? Media Lab Prado.
Yes.
It's a citizen lab. It's an innovation lab.
Yeah.
And they are really successful in incubating innovation projects from the community in general.
Oh,
so
cool.
They have all kinds of projects. It's amazing, really. The work they do, it's unbelievable.
Cool.
So, yeah, they are like trying to boost all these initiatives that come from the communities around the world, even because they usually also gather people in many places. For example, last year it was here in Veracruz, and this year it's going to be the meeting is going to be in Sao Paulo or in Rio de Janeiro. And they really work as it's a non. No, I think they receive money from the municipality from Madrid.
Yeah.
But all the projects are self-sustainable. So these are not like real companies. These are not like startups. These are just projects like cooperatives or I don't know, different kinds of gatherings that are not like business in the sense of receiving money, but they are self-sustainable. So they earn money, they sell the products they produce. For example, if they, for example, cultivate things. But there are other groups related to different things. I don't know. And they have like this idea of that communities can think about their ways of being sustainable, not precisely with the same logic of the capitalist society. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting.
Yeah, sounds great. I was just thinking, sorry, were you gonna?
Yeah, it's like a commons-based economy, or the economy of solidarity or cooperation.
Right. I was thinking in the Barrio of Gracia in Barcelona, it's a fantastic neighborhood, and they have a cooperative where it's a really cool co-op because basically you contribute your expertise for a certain amount of time, and you in exchange for someone else's, but you pay into the co-op by like me saying, okay, I offer 10 hours of English classes for whoever wants it, and this is the timetable I'm available, and I'll be here at the center.
Yes.
And then I have, credit for 10 hours of someone else's. And there were like cooking classes and English classes and plumbing and sewing, and people were really exchanging a lot of information.
And it was, did it last for a while?
Yeah, no, it was like at least 10 years. It was really cool. I mean, it went through periods of being, depending on the government and the funding, and whether or not we could keep the space and things like that was kind of the challenge. But that's kind of what I was thinking, but I'm not sure how that ties into what we were saying about paying into a membership and then being able to make money off of being able to at least make back what we paid in.
So I think that the whole idea of making a money thing would be like, could you imagine doing that, but then also being able to get like a certificate, whatever, as like a certified seamstress or a certified English teacher or something.
Right.
Like that. Obviously, that's a lot of scaling up to get to that point, and it's not like we would jump there necessarily immediately, but it's like the same thing as like I don't know, Red Hat or whatever. Like you can get a Linux operating system for free. You just download it and install it on your computer. But if you're Red Hat, you also sell all these consulting services and like specialized like formulations of that and stuff like that. So it's kind of the same at a university, right? Like you could just go to the library and read a book, but what the teacher does is they give you a really specialized treatment. They walk you through it, and of course you have peers there to talk with you and stuff. So like, I guess the thought is, could we position ourselves as like way less expensive than a typical Western university, and way less expensive and way less prestigious than Harvard or whatever, but offer a higher quality education than you get just by either reading a book or by attending MOOCs? And the answer is probably yes. Charge people $200 as opposed to $2,000 or something for a semester of work, and like make them more responsible. And the thing is, here's the co-op thing, is like when they paid in the money, they'd also become co-owners of the university, so they'd have like a financial incentive themselves to make it work. But I mean, all of this is a bit of a scheme, so don't be like, oh, Joe has an answer here. It's just that this is like, Minneapolis is another place, a big city for co-ops, so we have a lot of food co-ops. They even had wars with each other where they fought each other in the streets about like who got to be the dominant co-op. That was before I moved there, but like, Really serious. It was like the Marxists versus the hippies.
Like
it was crazy.
the communist gang
Yeah.
colors, yeah.
So something like that, I guess, probably would be. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I started this document, and I probably should close it up here, but.
I was gonna say, the document, Charlotte, all those approaches sound good, and we can do multiple ones and see what sticks too. Like Mozilla is an interesting setup. They have like a nonprofit, like the parent thing, and they have Mozilla Corporation, which is like under the auspices of the 501c3. LLC that like makes money and it charges. They're the ones that make money by letting like Google or Amazon be on Firefox. But anyway, there's a lot of approaches we can try. But on a different note, Paola want to follow up with the Wikimedia education people.
No, I haven't talked to them. Probably we'll have a hangout soon.
Okay, I emailed Lena, but yeah. All right, let's try to figure that. And then also, Joe, Charlotte, Kendra, have you watched Paola's video or the video?
I don't have the link yet.
Oh.
What's that from Wikimedia? Wikimania, I mean.
Paola was a movie star. It's true.
No. As soon as they uploaded it to Wikimedia Commons, I will send you the link.
Okay.
Well, I gotta leave, but thank you, Paola. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Charlotte, for hosting as always, Kendra. All right. Talk to you guys online.
Okay.
I will. Joe, did you get the chat yet, or?
It's there. I'll get it in a second.
I will stop the broadcast. And I'd like to invite everyone, all the millions of you who are watching, billions maybe, to join us again on next Monday for the next exciting installment of Paola, Charlie, Joe, Charlotte, and Karen, and anyone else who wants to join. See you soon.